Can a single 100-watt solar panel bake or cook food? Hi folks, for years I've been thinking about this question. Finally, after a long wait, the opportunity came to test the idea. You are seeing the first ever live test of my mini solar oven, meaning the first time food was ever put in it. It is powered by nothing more than a single 100-watt solar panel. Unfortunately, the weather was not ideal for this test, with the sun being hazy and overcast, intermittent cloud cover, and wind gusts. But the oven was still able to reach over 350 degrees Fahrenheit at certain times. It was very difficult to conduct the test, but I pushed on through in order to gather data. This prototype is of a very simple construction. It consists of two metal boxes. The inner box cooks the food with a heating element. The outer box helps protect the user from burning themselves. Of course, it isn't exactly safe or reliable, but it proves the concept. My hope is that manufacturers will pick up on these ideas and release products that are safe, reliable, and refined. With that said, here is the footage of the field test work. I hope you enjoy this simple demonstration of what a single 100-watt solar panel can do. So after I dragged everything out into my yard, here I'm just setting up my instruments and setting up the oven, aiming the solar panel at the sun, and getting ready to conduct the test. I'm using a clamp-on ammeter, DC, as well as a K-type thermocouple to monitor the temperature, and a standard digital multimeter. Here you can see that the oven is already starting to warm up, although not exactly to baking temperature. Again, the sun was very hazy, and I was not able to get the power that I wanted into the oven. In previous tests, I was able to get more power because the sun was shining brightly and was not overcast. But I decided to go ahead and proceed with the test anyway because I wanted to see if it would work. Normally this heating element will actually light up and glow, but like I said, the sun was overcast and I was not getting enough power dissipated across the element to get it to glow. Finally, the sun was able to put enough energy into this oven to get the temperature up near 300 degrees, which is still really not hot enough for what I want to use it for, but it's a start. And it's still struggling to hold temperature, just waiting for the temperature to come up. And it's really a waiting game when the weather's like this. The sun keeps going in and out. You really don't have anything to fall back on. With PV to load cooking, it's whatever the sun's doing. So that can be a challenge that's common in PV to load cooking, but I personally like having a challenge, and the ability to operate and cook food in the field without relying on lithium batteries and expensive and complicated electronics is, I think, worth the challenge. And at this point the oven was starting to reach near 350 degrees, which is pretty good for starters, and I was hoping to hit at least 350 degrees in this test, and a couple of times I was able to do that. Well, enough games now. I decided to go ahead and just put the food in the oven. In this test I was able to avoid placing the food directly on the aluminum foil. I prefer to use parchment paper whenever I can. Here I'm struggling with the K-type thermocouple, trying to get it inside the oven without dipping it in the hot dogs. In the background I'm trying to put up cardboard boxes and whatnot to try to block the wind, which causes a lot of noise in the microphone. And now the sun has decided to disappear yet again, so I lose temperature in the oven and the voltage collapses. Well, now it's been a while and I want to check the food to see if it's been cooking. And I could tell right away that the food had been cooking, it's just cooking really slow. And it did smell pretty good once it started cooking. So the temperature is now pushing up over 340 degrees Fahrenheit, which is good. Okay, here you can see that I was able to hit 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Checking the food again, it's very obvious that it is definitely cooking. So at this point the sun had gone in and out so many times I was pretty much ready for this test to be over. Okay, it's too much clouds today to really do this test. However, it still cooked the hot dogs, but it's very difficult with the sun going in and out. And I could not get the temperature that I wanted because the sun was going in and out. It's very windy, the wind keeps blowing on the microphone, and the sun keeps going in and out. So a really bad day for a test overall. However, it did cook the hot dogs, so this oven does work, it just needs sun. In fact, I think I overcooked them. And there's a look at the results. They are cooked. In fact, like I said, they're overcooked. This idea does work, and I'm going to refine it a little bit more. This is a first prototype. Pretty good for a first prototype, I think. Now in this test, I didn't see a lot of the bubbling and sizzling and popping that I like to see when I'm cooking in one of my prototypes. But in a later test conducted the following day, I cooked some chicken in the same oven, and I was able to see some of the bubbling that I expect and like to see when something is cooking. This day was much better. The cloud cover was less. The sun was still hazy, but it was a little bit better than the previous day, and I was able to get the oven up over 400 degrees Fahrenheit. With the higher temperatures, there was some bubbling and frying going on, so it's much easier to tell that the food is cooking. Well, I'm not a cook, but it's time to take the food out and see if it's any good. So I brought the food inside and gave it a taste, and yes, it was actually pretty good. Yep, tastes good. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.